Get ready to bloom with these beautiful creations that will add a touch of nature to your home with my top 5 flower-inspired DIYs. Today's show is a part of a playlist called Flower Palooza, hosted by Indie Annie Jones. Her channel, Crafting with Indie Annie Jones, and the playlist will be listed in the description box below. For this project, I'll be using a cork, one of these tin cans, a piece of old wire, and a Dollar Tree calendar. I chose this page out of the calendar, and I'm trying to measure here so that I can get it to go around the can, and I'm just trying to decide exactly where to cut. So once I have those measurements, I go ahead and cut my calendar page. Before I attach the calendar page to the can, I do want to put some holes using a nail and hammer on either side of the can. Now I'm going to use some Mod Podge, and I'm going to apply that calendar page by sections so I can be sure and get it straight. Now that I have the calendar page attached to the tin can, I'm going to go in with this Dollar Tree tool and poke through the paper where I made the holes. I'm also cutting down the wire so that I can make a handle. I used my drill to drill through the cork so that I could put the wire through the middle of the cork, and now I'm going to feed the wire through the holes in the can. Bring up a piece of that wire on each side to twist around the handle to attach it to the can. We have this cute little can with a nice little cork handle. Now, since it says freshly picked on the calendar page, I'm adding some of these Target Dollar Spot tulips to the can. This is an adorable little arrangement, but I didn't like how you could tell this was a tin can. So I'm taking one of these furniture markers from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to color around the top and the bottom rim of the can. Using another Dollar Tree calendar, I'm going to be using this page that says Bloom Where You Are Planted. I'm also using one of these mason jar signs from Dollar Tree from last summer. So I'm just using this calendar page, and I'm trying to see exactly where I want it so that I can center it, and I'm just pressing around the edges of the sign with my fingers. I am placing this on the back side of the sign, so I do want to cover the front side. So I'm using some craft paper, and I'm just tracing around that, and cut it out and glue it to the front of the sign. I'm just using a glue stick for this part of the project. I do want to create kind of a metal looking top for this jar, so I'm tracing around the top on some craft paper, and I'm going to fold that in half and then glue it together to make more of a stiff material. Now I'm going to cover the top with a piece of foil, and I am using the dull side of the foil, and I'm crinkling it up just a little bit so it'll look more aged and worn. I decided it was still a little too shiny, so I used some black chalk paint and dabbed it all over. Then I went back with some antique wax and dabbed it all over, and then finally I softened it up a little with a little bit of Waverly chalk paint and silver lining. While that dries, I'm going to go ahead and add my Mod Podge to the bottom part of the mason jar, and I'm going to cover that entire part and then let it dry. Once it's dry, I'm going to lay my calendar page on top, right where I have those markings on the side. And to attach the page, I will use my mini iron and a Teflon sheet. The heat will reactivate that Mod Podge and my calendar page will smooth on there without any wrinkles. Now I'm going to go back with my scissors and remove most of the excess paper, but then I will follow up with my finger sander to have a nice clean finished line. Now it's time to hot glue the top to the jar. Now to finish this piece out, I did add some florals from Dollar Tree, and I tried to match what was in the calendar page, so I'm just using hot glue to attach all of those to the back of the sign. I did have to kind of hold each one of the flower stems until the glue set up, but I also secured it again with a piece of duct tape across the back. It's not pretty, but it's functional. I'm going to attach a hanger to the back that I removed from something else. It's just jute twine, and I just hot glued it onto the back. Just to add one more little bit of embellishment, I used some of this frayed edge silk ribbon from Amazon. If you're enjoying any of my flower-inspired DIYs today, be sure and give me that thumbs up. And also want to invite you to go ahead and subscribe to my channel. This piece is from Dollar General. I got it on clearance for just pennies. I'm using this Redesigned by Prima transfer and this Fusion Paint encasement. I painted the inside of the frame, and you can still see some of those letters, but this transfer will cover those up. Once the transfer has been applied, I do rub over it with the transfer backing sheet so that I can burnish it into the wood. I'm going to remove that painter's tape, and I'm going to apply a top coat using DIY's Big Top. I wanted to embellish that bottom right corner, so I'm using this peony from Dollar General as well as some of this silk frayed ribbon from Amazon. I'm not tying a bow, but I am tying a knot so that I can attach this to the back of the flower. I used hot glue to attach the ribbon to the back of the flower, and then I'm using hot glue to attach the flower to the frame. This piece is perfect for hanging, but it's also nice just to sit on a table. Let me know which you prefer for this floral spring DIY, hanging or as a sitting display. I'll be using this metal cup or container that I thrifted. Also using some of these magnetic letters from the Dollar Tree. I'm using a chip brush and some white chalk paint just to dry brush over all the letters. Now I'm going to use my hot glue gun and glue the letters onto the can. And this is the perfect little vessel for some fresh or faux flowers. and for yet another Dollar Tree calendar page. I'm using this bunny page right here that has all the flowers on it, and I'm going to be coating the bunny with Mod Podge and then placing the calendar page on top. I am going to give the Mod Podge time to dry, and then I'm going to use the iron-on method. I'm making sure that I can see the flowers on the ears and at the bottom of the bunny. Then I'm placing a Teflon sheet on top, and I'm just going to use my little iron and iron it to reactivate that glue. Now I'm going to go back with my scissors and cut off as much of the excess as I can. Now I'm going to do my best with my little finger sander and sand off the rest of the excess paper because it gives it a nice clean line. I did have to use my detail scissors in a couple of little places. Next, I'm using one of Dollar Tree's wire wreaths, and I'm using a garland that I got from Hobby Lobby. I'm using some of this green twine to tie the garland onto the wreath form so that if I ever want to take it off, I can still do that and have a garland. I'm also using the same twine for the bunny. I'm going to tie a knot on the front of each ear, and that way I can just tie it to the wreath and I can change it out for the seasons. Once I get the twine through there, I will just turn it over and tie it in the back. For some extra embellishment, I chose to add some flowers to the top that match the flowers in the calendar page. I'd like to take a moment to invite you to subscribe to my channel and definitely hit that thumbs up button if you've seen anything today that you've enjoyed. Be sure and check out the playlist in the description box below along with our host channels. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to share the chic. Bye now.